well, since it's officially noon afternoon. Yeah, you know, the video was what I thought it was going to be. Kids played really hard. Didn't play as clean as I wanted to play. Not, you know, with penalties or things, but just, you know, some assignment stuff. They moved the ball when we missed some tackles, and you're going to miss some tackles early in the season because it's just the nature of not going live every day. But we misaligned a couple times, and those misalignments really cost us. And so we have to do a better job of communicating the back end, and you know, we'll probably pare a couple things down, you know, to make things a little simpler. But in terms of their effort, played really, really hard. Great example is run they made. It's 14-10, our lead. They broke one off, misalignment, and you know, we tracked them down the 3-yard line. And Eric Stewart and Jalen Castleberry just gave unbelievable effort to get there. Then we had a goal line stand. And then we broke off a 50-yarder ourselves. And so instead of it going 17-14, it now goes 21-10. And that's big, you know. And I'm trying to explain to the team that these games that we're going to be playing, it's going to be a lot of one plays. This one play led to this, and this one play led to that. And so just every play is the most important play you play. The nice thing is we played like 65 guys, and so we played a lot of players, and a lot of guys got experience, and we're a pretty deep team. It was good to see Jacoby Hills out there and played really well at the tackle spot. You know, he really stepped up when we had Kevin Terry down. You know, Kevin practiced today, so hopefully that will give us, you know, some options on the O-line in terms of playing some more bodies. Obviously, you know, when a quarterback throws 6 touchdowns, you know, that's, you know, pretty impressive. And I thought he had such a great command of the offense. And that's why you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into, hey, like, Giovanni's going to take this many reps, and, you know, we'll have Evan take that many reps. It was really more, you know, we're going to roll Evan out there first, and we know we're going to play Giovanni, and we're just going to see how it, you know, unfolds. And I think it's pretty much the same way, you know, we're thinking about this week too. So again, we feel we have 2 quarterbacks that can play, but we're not going to get tied into how many reps anyone's going to get. That's just not good business. Yeah. So on to week 2. The thing we emphasized this morning in our meetings was such a critical week because this is where you make the most improvement. You know, every college coach will tell you, since you can't simulate a football game, there's some things that are just going to happen in week 1. Got to get that stuff cleaned up going into week 2 and get that, you know, for the rest of the season. So it's a huge week for us because it's the next game, but also because, you know, week 2 means that you get a chance to really improve off what you didn't feel good about week 1. So, questions?
You know, it seems like looking back a little bit historically on you, you haven't been sort of in this position, much less being an FBS coach for really only a few years, to play against a lower level team. I look at like Oklahoma Panhandle State.
Yeah.
That might have been the last time at Sam Houston you played an NA at a lower. What is, you described just there your approach to the team, but what is different from your perspective coaching that game?
Jaquez Azard was the MVP of the national championship game. Howard transfer. To me, it's Sam. They get some good players now. They will get some good players. I mean, the MVP of the national championship game was a Howard transfer. So, you know, and if you look back, whatever it was, 5 years ago, UNLV and Howard, 42-point, you know, spread, and they had the biggest point differentials in the history of spreads in terms of, you know, winning. They beat UNLV, was like 4 or 5 years ago. So, yeah, it's really more about us than them, and that's my approach with, you know, it doesn't matter who we play. It's going to be a lot more about us than about them. You know, I think the team is going to start understanding how I communicate with them. And one of the big things is that I don't get really caught up with who we're playing. It's more about, like, taking care of us. So we happen to be playing Howard. It happens to be the second game of the season, which is a huge, you know, game just because the nature of football. You really need to improve a lot from week 1 to week 2. And, you know, these guys haven't won a lot. And so I think because they haven't won a lot, they're not going to take anything for granted. And so I anticipate a great week of preparation.
Coach, how's it feel? Obviously, a lot better to start the season 1-0. What's the sense
Yeah.
you're getting from the guys in the locker room?
Oh yeah, no, we had a lot of fun. You know, it was first of all a great trip. They traveled like pros. They really did. Not a single hiccup. They were really amazing. And you know, the thing I say so often is they want to win so badly. You know, it's like I can't even tell a joke because they're just so like we want to win. You know, it's like, and I think they're starting to come out of their shell a little bit. And but yeah, it was really important that we faced some adversity early on. A little self-imposed adversity. Why I don't think we did a great job lining up a couple times. We missed some tackles, and again, as I said earlier, that's pretty much the nature of early season. Not tackling a lot. But we kept on playing, and that was the thing at nauseum we talked about. I talked about in the press conference that we kept on saying, okay, we've done a great job preparing, but when it's really like a real life game and there's a real life scoreboard, and you either win or lose, how are you going to react? And we didn't panic at all, and that's truly amazing because with a team that hasn't had success, and then they're losing right away. Easy to panic. It's like, let's go back to our bad habits. And they did. We did a really good job just staying the course, executing the next play. And we talked a lot, I do a tips, I call it reminders, Friday before a Saturday game. And I said, you'll be amazed. The things I tell you game 1, the same things I'm going to tell you game 12. Because you win and lose for the same reasons every single week. You win the turnover battle by 1, you're going to win 70% of your games in college football. It's things like that. So it's about playing clean. It's about don't scoreboard watch. You start scoreboard watching, you start getting that, we could lose this. Who cares about the score? We're about executing the next play. Your best chance of getting back in this thing is to execute that next play. So we talked a lot about those things. I thought they did a great job handling it. Because again, now that it's over, you're glad they faced that adversity. You're really glad that, okay, things weren't going well early. We made some mistakes. Didn't panic. We got ourselves back in it, and then we're pretty dominant the rest of the day. So, yeah, I thought the way the win worked out, it worked out right well.
And it was both sides of the ball.
Yep.
The defense only allowed 3 points the rest of the way,
Yep.
and then the offense puts up points.
Yeah, and I keep on telling them, I said, we were a really good football team. It's just a matter, how clean we play. When we play clean, we're going to be a tough out now. We're going to be a really tough out, and I think they're starting to believe that. I think they're starting to understand that. And the more they play in real games, the stronger that conviction's going to be. So, I don't know if they thought I was, lying to them early on, like, hey, we got a lot. There's enough talent here for us to win. Do we execute? Do we play clean? Do we stay healthy? It's all those kind of things. And so I want them to come, with that mindset that it's all here. It's really on our shoulders to, put that time in. And one of my common themes is we get one chance at 2025, one chance. There's no do-overs. And so you better prepare every single week, at the highest level. And like I said, going into the game, I felt really good about the preparation, and I'll be anxious to see how we prepare this week.
Did you get a download from Avery Powell or the other guys on the field when almost nobody reacted to that fumble? I thought it was.
Yeah. So that was like, if you see it, like when you watch it on tape, you don't really know if the ball came out or not. In fact, the official, she started stepping on the field, and then she stopped, and then we picked it up, and I was shocked they didn't blow it dead. And they're taught typically, don't be a quick whistle, let things kind of play out. But no, she started to spot the ball, and she actually took 2 steps on the field, and then she realized Avery picked it up, and then she stepped back, and Avery took it, for a pretty good, a huge play, and that's. Those momentum plays, that we had the big interception, we had the big fumble recovery. We didn't turn the ball over at all. I think we were really efficient offensively. We have 3 of the longest drives in college football this past weekend. I mean, who does that? 3 of the 5? Yeah. Who does that? I mean, pretty impressive. And Evan just did such a great job, commanding the offense. Just really have a great feel for what we were trying to do, and we got some really good protection, and we got the run game going a little bit also.
And I thought back to preseason camp. I don't remember barely seeing your offense fumble.
Yeah.
But then I didn't see your defense forcing fumbles.
Sure.
So
Sure.
see, that's a first game thing. You got to really see it.
Yeah, and I know Tyler, our offensive coordinator, Tyler Walker, every day when I look at the practice script, ball security's in there. And they work that over and over and over, like at nauseam, just over. And same thing defensively. A lot of working on, we dropped 2 interceptions in the first drive. We should have had, some more interceptions. I don't know if we have great hands on defense. That's probably why they're on defense. But we did get those 2 turnovers, which were huge plays.
You kind of talk about big moments in terms of kids on both. Felt like after that, missed tackles, stops, you got the goal line stand. How kind of big was that? You kind of talk on the sideline about that play.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things where, it's amazing. The longer I do this, the more, I understand that momentum is something you just can't even understand or describe. And once you get that momentum going, I was in a game where we scored 28 points in 5.5 minutes, and it just was like, just one play, the next play, then we kicked the ball off into the wind, it dropped down, and we recovered it, and it's just, you get this energy and this. So, and the whole thing is you got to feed up the positives and kind of flush the negatives. And so that's something we also talk about. It's like, listen, there's going to be things that are going to happen during this game. It's never going to be perfect. And so when it's a negative play, just flush it, move on. But when it's a positive play, feed off that energy. And so I thought our guys did a really good job feeding off the positive plays. They didn't hang their heads, they didn't point fingers when we had some of those negative plays, but they really did a good job feeding off the positive plays.
So I guess preparation, be kind of different, not having to travel, and we'll be able to, stay home this week. Will there be any changes with that?
Yeah, no, we'll suit up a very similar roster. I don't fill the locker room with just players. I want guys who there's a good chance are going to play. I think we took 75 or 76 players, and 66 played. So, I want guys in that locker room that know that they make it on the field. We'll have the rest of the guys there. They'll come in the locker room post game, but we try to keep a lot of similarities to when we travel. But yeah, we're going to stay here, in Philly by the airport, and so we're 6 or 7 minutes from the stadium. Really convenient. They'll take care of us out there at the Hilton, and it's one less thing you have to worry about is packing the guys on. It's a 5 hour and 15-minute bus ride, because of the holiday weekend. We hit a bunch of traffic, and I thought we did a great job navigating it. We had police escorts all the way through, but still, it was 5:15. Kids handled it really well. So always love playing at home. First time I'll get a chance to coach in the link, and for some of these guys, first time they're going to be, playing in a pro stadium like that. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Hey.
How are you, as Kevin Terry continues to get healthier, with Jacoby Hill's playing well, and UMass, how do you kind of plan to approach that left tackle position?
Well, we would love to play 7 or 8 offensive linemen. And that's what we did last year at Sam. And I thought it was so critical for us as the season wore on and how physical Division I football is. We played a lot of defensive linemen. So yeah, I think as Kevin gets healthy, we kind of figure out, okay, which one can bump back and forth and give us 3 tackles. If we can play with 3 tackles, it's amazing in the fourth quarter, taking off 10, 15 reps during the game, how much fresher they are. So if you can play 7 or 8, wow, you're blessed. And I think we have a chance that we might be able to play some extra tackles this weekend. So we'll see. But I don't want to put him out there unless he's 100%.
Hay looks good to go. He was out there.
Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah, no, we got out pretty clean, nothing that's going to really hold anyone back, going into this weekend. So, and I think that's of 2 things. I think our conditioning program is incredible, and the kids believe that also. That's a big part of it. And the second thing is we play 65 guys. I think when you have a chance to play as many players as we played, it takes a lot of wear and tear off of guys. So I think that was a big plus for us too.
I saw Jameer Jones. I heard understandably cleared. He's on the depth chart.
Yep,
Is he
he's
right
a
in there?
really talented kid. We had to work through some logistics to get him eligible. It was one of those things that we thought, looking at past history, that he would be eligible, but we found out like the day we're traveling that he became eligible. And so he's been practicing. He had a 45-day window he could practice. He took reps out there today with some of the twos, and he will help us on teams and will help us at the safety spot. Getting Pooh back and getting Jameer ready to go, all of a sudden our safety room gets a lot deeper. And that's a room where we need to have some depth because those guys can get beat up pretty good. So I feel better defensively that, you know, almost every position we can go too deep and feel pretty good about the guys we're putting in. And those two guys coming back will be big.
What are some things you're trying to emphasize this week heading into Howard? You say you can't, you know, look past a program like that. So what are some things you're trying to emphasize on both sides
Yeah,
of the ball?
again, it's all about us, not about them. You know, and just really all the fundamentals and us playing cleaner. And you know, I in our team meeting, you know, this morning, you know, I talked about like we're not going to go into a whole lot of games that we just feel like, boy, those guys are just so much better than us. So how do you beat them? You beat them by playing cleaner. And you know, they've shown that they will play with a great fierce. I mean, they're intense. They're fierce. They're passionate. They'll play to the end. Those are all good qualities. Now let's play clean along with it. I thought the locker room was amazing. The energy in the locker room. I mean, those guys were dialed in. I had to do very little. You know, they came out and they wanted to play. Again, I think we'll go as far as how clean we play. If we play clean, I think we're going to be a tough out for a lot of people. And I think the players are starting to understand that. And hopefully that means that they're putting that extra time in, watching video on their own, tip sheet, getting with the coaches for extra stuff. And that's what the great teams do. And also the great leaders, you know, and I just had my leadership council meeting, the great leaders, you know, bring them together and say, hey, listen, at 3:15, let's all get together and go through the tip sheet or whatever it may be. So truly player-led teams that have talent, boy, they go a long way. And like I said, I think there's some talent here that if we play clean, we have a chance to, you know, compete with everyone we're playing against.
You know, aside from playing Evan and Giovanni, and then maybe at running back, I think it was the ones
Right.
up until the last drive for the entire rest of the year, right? The
Receiver, defense played a
Yeah.
lot more guys than the offense did.
But why on, like, even, I don't think you sub for a
Yeah,
receiver until the
well,
last
it's
drive.
a
Any
little bit
particular?
different. The exertion level from a defensive side of the ball versus an offensive side of the ball. Plus, a lot of those guys on defense are also on special teams. So it's really important that we're trying to rotate as many guys on defense as possible. And I don't think we're comfortable right now offensively playing as many twos as we are on defense. So yeah, it's a combination of things, but I'm hoping that we start playing more guys as time goes on.
Tyler Stewart, you know, he handled a little bit of punt and kickoff last year, a few,
Yep.
so it wasn't like his first, but right, you want to see him out there. What did you see from him on those?
Well, he's so
things?
dynamic. You know, it's a shame the first kickoff return we brought it out to 35, 37, whatever it was, and then you know we get a holding penalty. And so you know during the course of training camp, he's established that he's the guy, and he has that kind of speed where if he hits it north south, you know, no one's going to catch him. So yeah, just I mean I think Coach Ginn was not completely thrilled with our special teams. You know, we pinned them down. You know, we protected pretty well on punt. They fair caught all the kickoff coverages, but I thought we did a great job on kickoff coverage. You know, we had that penalty on kickoff return that you know we didn't want to have. But there's some talent there on the special teams. I think we have a great kicker. I think we have an outstanding punter. Our snapper's really good. I like our returner. Like I said, I think he can hit some big ones for us. So it's just a matter of getting more and more reps. That's, you know, special teams is probably the most difficult thing to simulate because having those service guys run down in the right lanes and doing all those kind of things, it's a lot more intricate than just saying, hey, you're playing right guard and here's your pull in or whatever. So, but that's an area where if we want to be really good, the best teams I've ever been around have played really good special teams. I think we have the ability to play with some really good special teams. You can see I'm positive about this team. I mean, there's enough here that we can have the kind of season we want, but boy, it's going to be by the slimmest of margins, and that's FBS football. That is FBS football. I mean, you know, there's a lot of 50-50 games in the world we live in. So how do you win those 50-50 games? I feel really confident we're in great shape. I feel confident we're able to play great special teams. The third factor is going to be, can we just play clean on both sides of the ball? And, you know, a couple things offensively that we need to get cleaned up, and there's a couple things defensively that, you know, rear its ugly head by us not, you know, lining up properly and having some mistakes there. But if we do those things, again, I think we can compete with everybody in this league. All right, thanks, guys.